the last part of the exercise is to actually just do the formatting of text, which implies doing the headings. So if I go over to here and I click on that, that's a heading, right? Another heading. This guy here will most likely be a subheading. If I want to pick a line within a paragraph, I click once. If I do double click, I actually pick the whole paragraph, which we'll do in a second. But let's do the main headings first, because what we want to do is automatically generate a table of contents. So I'm just going to pick this heading here, go click once. Now if I do control key click line, it'll pick the next heading, and I'm going to miss this heading and this heading because they're subheadings of the main heading of the current situation. So I'm going to keep going down a little bit further down. Obviously this report's been split, so there's a lot of other sub-research items. Now if I do control click here, it's a main heading and another main heading. And because they're main headings, now what I'm going to do is actually set them as a heading 1 type. I'm not going to change any of the formats and so forth, or I really don't need to at the moment, but you can see that main heading types have been picked to include in the table of contents. So now if I go to my table of contents area here, I'll just delete this, I can do references, and references implies that I can now insert a table of contents. Okay. So for your business report, try not to modify the table of contents, just pick the very first one, and that's, put it this way, it's much easier for the people who are marking it because they know that it's a common format. If you modify your table of contents, you'll lose marks, right? So just click on this guy, and you notice it's picked all the headings which I picked as heading 1, and it's given the appropriate page number. So I'll go further down, because what we want to do is actually include the subheadings. So I'm going to click on the subheadings, 1, control click on this guy, control click on this. Oh, no. So what I've shown you is that you can make a mistake because you can't uncontrol. So what you should do is be very careful if you do a control click, because if you've got a lot of headings, you'll actually miss a lot of information. So go click there, click there, and be very accurate with your choices. Alright, and I'm going to do this guy, and that's the subheadings that are headings within this heading 1, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to assign them as a heading 2, right? And the heading 2s now have been formatted, which means I can now go up to my table of contents, and this is the thing that you should remember for your business report, is when I click on this guy, you can do update table, but you can also do right click update field and do entire table. So it's not just page numbers, but actually picks out the new heading choices. So I'm going to click in here and say OK, and you notice now it's included not only the first heading level types but the subheadings as well, and it's given me the appropriate numbers. Now what to learn from this is that if you're doing formatting of your report, and I advise you to do it right at the end of the report. If you haven't, make sure that the very last thing that you do in your report is to actually go to your table of contents. So if I've been writing my report for the last few days and I haven't updated the table of contents, this will not reflect what you've actually modified. If you've increased page numbers and so forth, it'll be incorrect. So the very last thing you do in your business report is right click on this guy and make sure that you update your entire table as the very last thing you do within your business report. Alright, so that was including the heading types. Now I'm going to save. Now the business report requirements if I double click on this guy here for the paragraph, I can actually change the line spacing and the types that or the justification. And what you'll find is justification up here is whether I align everything to the left, whether I center all my text, put it all to the right, or justify. And in the report, the business report, we actually ask you to justify. So justify all your text. And if you have a look at the text in the highlighted area, which I've just highlighted, when I hit justify, it'll make sure that everything is aligned with the margins, the leftmost and the rightmost margins. So there are other ways of doing it, but I recommend that you actually go through and actually justify all of your normal text, or you could go to normal text, right click, modify the stuff, and in modification then you actually pick what type of lines whether you can actually justify or not the text. So here you would say paragraph, and you would say not left justify but justify, right? So all of my text automatically reflects. So either way, you can do what I did at the start, where you just highlight a paragraph, or you can modify the normal text through the formatting to actually say whether you are justifying everything or not, right? And that concludes the formatting of the report, right? And remember, the very last thing you do is you update field, make sure it's done entirely, and my report is now complete.